It's been so long since I started Persona 5 that I haven't really I almost completely forgot to make this video because this is something I was talking about when I was first playing the game, when I was leading up to it, like before I played it, like even back in 2016 when like it was first starting to come out, like when people were talking about this thing. I looked at Persona 5 and I was just like, this does not look as good as Tokyo Mirage Sessions on Wii U. And now in 2023, I've played both. I have a thorough understanding of what both are like, and my original assessment, rooted in decades of Nintendo gaming and RPG enjoying, was completely spot on. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is far, far superior to Persona 5. It has better characters, better writing, better music, better combat, like better boss fights, like better dungeon design, like the fact that it has dungeon designs at all. It has better pacing, like a better story, like an incredible ending. Like Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a love letter to old school Fire Emblem fans and people who love turn-based RPGs. I was not expecting Tokyo Mirage Sessions to be as good as it was. And years later, I kind of look back on it as probably being my favorite turn-based RPG of the decade. Like I can't think of anything else other than maybe like Fire Emblem Awakening is like a strategy RPG. Like I'm talking like traditional like party member, Final Fantasy style, like, turn-based, party turn-based, like JRPG like format with the dungeon format. Like it's definitely my favorite Shin Megami Tensei game. Like no doubt. No doubt. Like this game just hit it out of the park in that regard. Like it was everything I like about the series with none of the things that I found like off-putting or ridiculous or boring. Like I I just really, 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 really enjoy Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and I've actually been thinking about like returning, booting up the Wii U and like playing it again on New Game Plus. I've already started a file on it actually, but I've been casually playing through it like every couple of years. It's interesting whenever I come back to it. Like, yeah, this game really is as good as I remember it being. It looks so bizarre, it's so strange, it's so different, and yet it works far better than Persona 5 with its like endless social aspects and stereotypical anime cliches and like characters that don't evolve or grow throughout the plot. Its wish fulfillment aspect, its poor overall plot, like the lack of engaging story structure and just how needlessly long it is, and just the trivial, boring combat and like Persona 5 just does not work. At its core, it just does not work. I know a lot of people like to say that this is a huge success and this is a big thing for JRPGs, and that like it proves that like turn-based classic JRPGs can still be successful in the modern era, that the Final Fantasy narrative that like this stuff doesn't sell anymore is wrong. And yeah, I agree with that. Like in a lot of ways, I find myself like not really willing to criticize Persona 5 to the same extent as a lot of other games, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, there are things to like about Persona 5 as well. It does have good music. It does have like a really interesting kind of vibe to it. Like I like how chill it is. I like just kind of like chilling out to it sometimes. But like the characters are so annoying. Like it's so repetitive. It's just like it just does not work at its core, right? Like when I compare it to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which had a way more likable cast, which had way better combat scenarios, which had way better like this and that and like stuff basically Tokyo Mirage Sessions does everything better than Persona 5. Like, and I think nobody wants to admit it, because nobody wants to admit that Persona could be outdone by like this B studio on Nintendo hardware. Like being a Nintendo fan, got to experience the better game on Wii U before you even got Persona 5. Like by the time Persona 5 came out, I was playing Breath of the Wild. So I know perfectly well that like Persona 5 fans missed out on the better experience, right? You missed out on the better games. You missed out on what I got to go through and like the final year of Wii U with like all of these great games coming out, building up to the finale of the release of the Switch. It was just a monumental experience. Just far, far surpassing anything that you would have had on your inferior gaming platforms, the PS3, the PS4, and the PC. It kind of shocks me how many people played this game for the first time on PC, by the way. Like you didn't even get to play Persona 5 right away, like, and yet you brag about it as if it's some big cultural milestone for you. It's crazy. But yeah, looking back on it, like thinking back on the experience, like yeah, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, there's really nothing wrong with the game. And it really is one of those titles that I think a lot of people like look down on for a bunch of like really petty reasons, like the visuals, like being so stereotypically anime, being like the theming of like being like in the entertainment industry. Like I think that put a lot of people off, and I can totally see why, especially in the States. But actually playing the game, actually experiencing it, like getting involved, getting invested. Like it's like watching something like Hajime no Ippo, honestly, where you just get invested in what the characters are doing and what they're going through, and like unlocking new party members, and just becoming more and more like engaged with the story and the plot, and like with the gameplay, and just like just having a fantastic, a fantastic experience with what's happening. It is unbelievable to think it's been like 7 years since this game came out. It came out in like June 2016. It's been a long time, and unfortunately, it seems like the game's never gonna get a sequel. We're never gonna see it again. It got a re-release on Switch that also got mired with controversy because of like certain circumstances. It is unfortunate that like this specific game got like railed so hard by the community simply because it was a Nintendo exclusive. And I do think that's like what this boils down to, right? Like the real reason Tokyo Mirage Sessions was so religiously hated by so many people. Same with Fatal Frame 5, same with Devil's Third, same with Xenoblade Chronicles X, 2, and 3. Same with what's another example? Star Fox Zero, right? The reason these games were so religiously hated, the real reason was that because these were Nintendo exclusives, right? These guys will bend over backward trying to tell you that these releases were bad, or that they were like censoring stuff, or that they did something that fans didn't want. But in reality, like these were just pretendos, getting uppity about like trying to do anything they possibly can to cause controversy and cause drama within the sphere. And there is, of course, there are, of course, like dozens of countless examples of this, right? We're seeing it now with Fire Emblem Engage, and I believe Detective Pikachu Returns, right? We're seeing a lot of people like trying to cause controversy, trying to keep the discussion of the games negative, trying to keep people from being hyped, but like more and more we're seeing this kind of strategy being ineffectual. Like it just does not work. And I have to wonder if like this behavior is ever going to go away, or if people are just going to learn to tune it out, or like that like people will start like being more critical of this kind of like rhetoric. Like I kind of spoke out against like the way 13 Sentinels was treated when like that came out on PS4, and people were trying to say it was censored, and like it was actually perfectly fine. Like a lot, like it's just this kind of behavior really impacts the performance of niche games like this abroad, right? Like we are never going to get like Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2 because of the ridiculous way this game was treated when it was first announced. And that is kind of a shame, I think. Like I would like to see a sequel. I would like to see like more of a traditional JRPG like Fire Emblem experience. Like I would like to see like them expand on the idea with a sequel, but unfortunately it seems like it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it feels like they're just going to I don't know, move on to the next project. And it is very unfortunate. I think this game is super underrated, and I would like to see more titles from the studio. I believe like recently they moved on to like Soul Hackers 2, and that came out, and like that got like a lot of flack because, um, because of like certain decisions they made. Like very unfortunate. I would like to see this team do well. They're probably my favorite studio at Atlus right now, like involved with Atlus right now, and I would like to see them do better. Like I would like to see them put out more high quality JRPGs on Nintendo hardware.